One. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. We're going to be talking about what has become known as TDS, Tango, Delta, Sierra. TDS. What is TDS? Trump derangement syndrome. Many of you have certainly heard of the term. Undoubtedly, you are aware of what Trump derangement syndrome means. The notion that President Trump lives rent-free in your head is a common statement. Trump gets discussed, Trump gets talked about so much that many of his supporters suggest that people actually are deranged in regards to wanting to discuss President Trump, that they actually have Trump derangement syndrome. So we're going to be talking about TDS, or Trump derangement syndrome, from two different angles. Number one, this is in regards to what I had a viewer tell me specifically, and I want to get the opinion of the audience to see how you guys feel about the same thing, and that is that President Trump would be far more loved if the media did not constantly bash him. Had someone tell me specifically, everyone, this is an actual quote, everyone would love Trump if the media wasn't always bashing him, always spinning the narrative, playing Trump as the bad guy, perhaps defending liberals. So I'm going to ask right off the bat, do you believe that the negative sentiment orbiting around Trump from many Americans, many voters, many constituents is media-based? Do you believe the media is bashing Trump so much that the man is not getting credit? Remember, folks would say he could cure cancer and they still wouldn't give him credit. Do you believe the media is deliberately trying to destroy the man? Going to talk about that. And then a smaller topic is indeed TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, the former president living rent-free in your head, many would say. Want to ask, why are so few discussions actually on Biden? Are folks trying to protect President Biden, trying not to harm him? Some would even ask, are the media in on it? Why is most discussions in regards to national politics on Trump as opposed to Biden? Why isn't Biden getting discussed more? Is he being excused for his actions? Thank you for the hat and mustache there, Novocaine. Yeah, appreciate it. Always starts the program all right. Novocaine, certainly appreciate your support, Novocaine. Thank you. So we're asking those two questions. Is the media unfairly bashing Trump over and over again, thereby hurting his image entirely? And TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, the notion that Trump is living rent-free in all of our damn heads. Why isn't Biden the topic of more discussions? Politically, on social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, you rarely hear Biden being the topic of discussions. It's almost always Trump. Why is that? So it's a slower news day. The Trump trial is underway. I'm sure some of that will come up in our discussion today. But I want to tackle this from the perspective of someone told me specifically. This is a quote. Everyone would love Trump if the media wasn't always trying to spin the narrative against the man. So I want to get your opinion on it. Do you believe the media has it in for number 45? Looking in the comments. Before we continue on, you know how the program is ran. I have to say this every day, all day. Program is, always will be, MAGA friendly. MAGA are always my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So understand, when you're in the box or you're in the comment section or wherever the hell you are, if you disagree with anyone on the program, including yours truly, no one gives a damn. It's all about free speech here. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. That's how the program has always been ran from day one. That's how it always will be. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. We allow everyone to speak. So looking in the comments, comedy is a political game now. I don't know. Is that something new, Frank, in the comments? I mean, Jay Leno talked about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky all the time. I don't know if comedy is something new. I don't know about that one. Because Trump is in the light, Biden is in the darkness. Damn. You think Biden is in the darkness? Feel free to elaborate on that statement. Trump believes bad press is free advertising. It's his plan. So in other words, Trump is being discussed because he actually wants to be. You're not the first I've heard say that. You really aren't. Going to the box, y'all don't remember Janet Reno. What does that say? Janet Reno on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, comedy and politics goes way back. It really does. It really does. Going to the box, we'll go straight to beard and politics. We're asking that question, is the media destroying Trump's image? Whereas folks would really like Trump if it wasn't always for the media spinning the narrative. Beard, what say you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, no, I agree with the whole notion that Trump wants to be in the spotlight, right? Like, look at the 2016 campaign. Trump and Bernie Sanders both represented populist movements in this country, right?
Yeah.
But look at the difference in media coverage. Whereas Bernie Sanders was really, really popular with a lot of young people and even was starting to get the attention of, blue dog liberals. Mm-hmm. Trump was constantly in the headlines. He was constantly getting media coverage. And a lot of that is because he knew that the more people saw his name, the more people would associate him with the Republican Party and with the presidential campaign. Like, it's all strategy. And Trump, if nothing else, is a showman.
So you're saying Trump is controlling his own exposure in the media. He's doing things to increase his exposure. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Now, he definitely doesn't enjoy the criticism that he gets from the media, but he knows that even that criticism helps with the people who are already supporting him. Yeah. Any negative criticism of Trump just makes those people dig their heels in deeper, and he knows that. He's very aware of that.
So what you're basically saying is any publicity is good publicity for Trump.
Oh, absolutely, for anybody. Like,
you think this trial... You think this trial where he allegedly paid off a porn star and, according to him, to hide it from his wife who just gave birth, to according to the prosecutors, it was to cheat or give him a one-up on Biden in the campaign. You think that's helping him out?
I think that it's, if nothing else, it's, again, making the people that support him already dig their heels in even deeper. Because we all know that, the famously Republican hypocrisy, right, is we don't actually care about hypocrisy. Like they'll if Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden had done any of the things that Trump had done, that Republicans and Donald Trump himself would be attacking him over and over and over about those things.
But you're saying the trial is helping him with his supporters. I mean, his own legal team is admitting that they paid Stormy Daniels to protect Melania Trump from hearing it. Paying off a porn star so that your wife don't know about it. You're saying MAGA is growing more supportive of Trump for doing that? That's what he is copying to doing.
Yeah, so, look at the way that they spin that whole thing, right? Like, well, God doesn't pick perfect men. He picks men perfect for the job, right? It's like, they don't actually care. They don't actually care.
Wow. But this is the party of family values, Beard.
That has always been a lie by itself, on its face. That has always been a lie. That was something that they co-opted as a party. But when you look at the real moral majority, the moral majority, historically speaking, has always been on the more left-leaning side of politics.
Yeah. Now in the comments, Lord Carnage says, why does that even matter to folks? In other words, if the president is paying off porn star so his wife doesn't know anything. Why do us regular working folks even give a damn about that? Should we just be focused on the economy and how the country is ran? The hell with what he does to his family.
So for the most part, I would say, yeah, it's really stupid to pay attention to any of that. It's to me kind of not all that different to when, people bring up MLK Jr. and they're like, oh, well, he wasn't faithful to his wife, It's like, well, no, like allegedly that's the case. But like, even if, MLK Jr. was a fucking puss hound, he still represented something a lot bigger than that, right? And I understand that a lot of times it's going to be that way, but the reason why nobody can stop talking about it with him is specifically because of that narrative that the Republican Party has spun around being the family of family values while not living up to those values.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up, because that's the same thing in reference to January 6th, is that they spun the opinion that they were the law and order party, and then on January 6th things go awry, and it's like, yeah, if you keep saying it, if I go around bragging about how much I'm about fitness and how much I eat well, and then I have a heart attack from cholesterol, people are going to hammer me for it, because you've been promoting yourself to this upper echelon of something that you're not actually, practice what you preach. So I kind of get your point there.
Yeah. Well, so like, what gets me even more than this whole Stormy Daniels thing, right? Going back to the law and order thing here. Have you been paying any attention to the current trial with his lawyer trying to get him like immunity and whatnot?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay, so his lawyer has essentially now made the argument he doesn't not want to answer the question when the question is presented to him, but essentially his lawyer has said, look, as long as it is done through the office of the presidency, the president could order the unaliving of his political rivals, and it would be perfectly fine, right? So that being the case, Joe Biden, you know what to do, right? They're saying it right here. Joe, push the button.
Yeah, I don't think the SCOTUS is going to give Trump complete immunity. What I think they are going to give him a victory, in my opinion. It's going to be in the form of a delay. If they throw this back down to the appellate court and tell them you need to do a better job in clarifying what immunity is, that'll push it back into 2025. And for Trump, delays our victory. I don't think they're going to grant the president immunity, but they don't have to. Once he's back in office, it all goes away anyway. And I think that is more likely what's going to happen. But I do got to move, and I'll give you the last word, though.
The last word, tell you what, the last word's not even going to be about Trump here. Last word will be, I hate this false narrative right now that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party is putting around the college protesters on the campuses protesting in support of Palestine, calling it anti-Semitic and such. I think that the anti-Semitism bill is basically just a way to make it illegal to be critical of the state of Israel. And I hate everything about it.
All right. Well, I will tell you it is. Just like with Black Lives Matter or January 6th or whatever, if you don't want to be called some type of demonization term, when you see people in your movement doing that, you got to get rid of them. I've said this about Black Lives Matter. If you see people, setting things on fire or calling for the killing of cops, the movement got to get rid of those folks. Same thing on January 6th and with the anti-Semitism you're talking about. There are folks in that crowd saying awful things about Jews, not to mention intimidating people and things like that. You don't want that on camera.
I don't disagree with you that there are, and this is going to be in any protest, there is always going to be some bad actors. And yes, the good actors have a responsibility to get those bad actors out. But we know overwhelmingly that when we're talking about, the violence on campuses and whatever, these protests have been largely peaceful. Yeah. And when they become violent, much like the Black Lives Matter protests, it is the police escalating them to violence. And I think that what we're witnessing right now, just like what we were witnessing in the Black Lives Matter protests, is fascism coming home to roost.
Yeah. Well, in regards to these protests, though, they did take over Columbia. I mean, they were fighting back in UCLA. I mean, they are doing things that are criminal, and it's not just a handful of them. I mean, they had to go in the building building in Colombia and get all these folks out of it. They had literally took over a building and locked it from the inside using bike locks and chains and shit. I mean, it's going to demonize your movement.
They did the same thing in 1968, and those protesters were found to be vindicated by history, and I believe that the exact same thing will be happening this time around as well.
I can't argue with that. That's a great comeback. Beard and Politics. You lived up to your name. Thanks for coming through.
All right. Thank you for having me on. Have a good one there.
Anytime. And I actually do agree with him that history probably will vindicate them. You know, plus or minus some awful statements about Jews, but I don't think Israel's looking good right now. I think they went above and beyond self-defense. We'll talk about it. Anyhow, moving on with the program. In the comments, you technically pay for the road. Okay, sure, you pay. I don't quite get that comment's going on without me. Let me go ahead and move the program on. Jonathan Bulliard, we're asking that question: is the media bashing Trump to deliberately destroy his image? Jonathan, what say you?
What up, amigo?
You said MAGA?
Amigo.
What? Oh, amigo. What's up? What's up? So, what do you think? You think they're bashing Trump?
Well, I didn't come on here for that. I come on here for that other. And that other being that individual talking about students going into classrooms, locking themselves in and trying to project their viewpoint on the rest of society.
Okay.
See, I got a problem with that. I spent 23 years, 8 months, and 4 days in the United States Army defending people's right to fight for what they believe in.
Thank you for your service.
There is a right way and a wrong way to do it. When you start infringing on other people's rights, you are no longer in the right.
Yeah. Let me respond by saying this. I think every successful protest in history, from the Boston Tea Party on up, was done the wrong way. If you protest legally, like the anti-abortion protesters, they will stand on the sidewalk. They're not in anybody's way. They're not intimidating anybody from passing. They stand there, read the Bible, maybe hold up pictures of
Handsome. Let me stop you here. None of them locked themselves in a building and took over assets.
Yeah, and I'm responding. Let me continue. If you protest the right way, I'm using the anti-abortion protesters as an example because they protest the right way. Nobody gives a damn about your cause. You'll never be successful if you protest in a manner that doesn't interfere with people moving back and forth, gives them the right to turn away from you and not look at you. The only way you get focused on is when you force the people to focus on you. Even Martin Luther King, they would go and sit in white restaurants and do sit-ins. If they just stood there and calmly protest, people would just ignore you to eternity, which is what they were doing with the abortion protesters. Doing it the right way gets no results.
But if you do it the wrong way and you get the wrong results, you don't have a right to complain about the wrong result.
I don't disagree with that, but as my last caller was rightfully pointing out, they are on the right side of history, whether it's the Boston Tea Party, whether it's the MLK protest, Black Lives Matter, they're on the right side of history, and they all did it the wrong way. I can't think of any movement that was done the right way that is on the right, that actually succeeded.
But are they? See, I'm not a real religious man, but I believe in the Bible.
Okay.
And I do believe that the Bible says that the day that the country becomes against Israel, all worlds will fall.
I'm not very religious, but I'll tell you one thing. The only reason why Christianity is so well known worldwide is because they did it the wrong way. I mean, hell, when my folks were brought over here, they weren't Christians. They were forced to become Christians. Even Christianity itself has blossomed due to imposing religion the wrong way. It should have been in people's hearts already. So I don't even know if Christianity makes sense in regards to what you're talking about.
It's called the Crusades, but belief is what matters.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you take people who already have a different religion or a different faith and force them to become Christians, isn't that doing it the wrong way?
Well, the question I have for you in that point is if they showed them a different aspect and a different venue of life and they chose that aspect, or they adhered to that aspect, did they choose, were they forced, or did they see a different avenue of approach?
If you were brought here to America in terms of being a slave and you tried to practice your own religion, they threatened to kill you. Yes, it was forced.
Handsome, I love you to death. I really do.
Thank
I
you.
love you with
Thank
all
you.
my heart. But you know as well as I do, history states nobody was forced to come here other than being sold by their own people.
How do you...
Even
Okay.
Our great Dallas Cowboy went to his home country and said, my own people were sold by their own people.
How do you... Here's what I don't get. If a mother sells you her child so that you can sexually gratify yourself, it's the mom's fault? Hold on. Hang on.
He's wrong.
Yeah, bringing up the fact that someone sold you a human, don't you know it's wrong to purchase a human?
Absolutely.
All right,
100%.
so why even bring them up? You knew it was wrong when you bought the person.
I brought that up because of the fact that there is a lot of misconstruence in today's society that white people went and did this to black people. This is not a true statement.
Okay, clarify it for me.
Their own people sold them to other people.
And they had
Whether
a choice.
Whether it's right or wrong, I do not believe 1/10 of a millisecond that it's right.
Right.
I love you to death, brother. I love you to death. I really do.
Appreciate it.
Let's be honest about this. White people did not instigate this.
Okay. Here, I want to show you something.
This was a monetary value that started because of wars. Because one family did not agree with the other.
Okay, I want to show you something, just a quick rough sketch of something I wrote while you were talking about that. This looks like shit, but this is what some might suggest resembles a family tree. Each one of these circles represents a human being. Now, when you mention black people sold their own kind, they sold you this guy. All of these other people, they didn't sell you. These are all the people that were born from this guy. All of these folks were not sold to you. You get what I'm saying?
Then they're American.
They're Americans with no freedom. 3/5 of a human.
They're American with all the freedom of God's creation. And that, my friend, I do believe. Because I don't care where you originated. What I care is what is in your heart. That's why I watch your videos and I follow you. Because I believe, you believe, that everybody is born free and born strong and has their own way in life.
Okay, so then I want to ask you, did the founding fathers agree that all of these people were also American and born free?
They damn well should. If they don't, well, then they ain't my founding fathers.
But I'm asking you, I'm sure you know enough about history. Do you think the founding fathers thought they were all free?
I'm telling you, they're wrong as two boys screwing in church.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
We're all American, and I would die for you just as soon as you would die for me.
Fair enough. But I do want to make sure, just in the future, should we have conversations again, and you're always welcome back. Anytime we talk about black folks selling their own people, understand we're talking about this one guy. All of these other people were never sold. They were never sold. Some of them were raped. Some of them were enslaved from birth to death. But we're not talking about any of these other people.
Handsome.
Sure.
Let me tell you this. As much as you want to understand that, understand this. If you and I were in a foxhole together, I would die for you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
I may not necessarily agree with your viewpoints politically because, we have our difference of opinion on that.
Nothing wrong with that.
I don't give a damn what color your skin is. I love you and you make great points.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Catch you later. Come on back anytime, man.
Have a good one.
All right, Jonathan. Good talk now, and that's what I wanted to. We'll continue back to the actual topic, but that what he stated is a very common response is that, listen, you guys sold your own people into slavery, and he is correct. There were plenty of folks, chiefs or whatever you want to call it, over in the main continent that did that. But as I rightfully points out, they sold you one guy. They didn't sell you a whole family tree. So it goes way beyond that. Because a lot of folks will say, well, look, you guys don't have a high ground. You were selling your own folks. And I'm like, he sold you one dude back in 1690, and you're still bringing this up in the late 1800s or all these people, all of his descendants. You comparing that to the one guy, huh? Looking in the comments, though, appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. We're talking about, is the media bashing Trump? I had someone tell me that President Trump would indeed be loved by everyone if the media wasn't constantly bashing him. So I wanted to get your opinion on it. David Moore, he is on trial for illegal campaign funds. Thank you for the super chat. How is he on trial for illegal campaign funds? He's on trial, I believe, for falsifying a document suggesting that the money he paid Stormy Daniels was a business expense, and it wasn't. It wasn't a business expense to pay somebody off. So I don't know about a legal campaign fund, but let me know. Let me know if I'm getting it wrong on that. Looking in the comments, two wrongs don't make a right. Lisa, I agree with that 100%. Lots of Europeans were sold into slavery in North Africa. True. And here's another thing on that topic before we go back to the main topic. When we talk about, let's say we're mentioning Black Lives Matter setting places on fire during the summer of 2020. You don't hear African Americans talk about, well, the Chinese were doing it also in Tiananmen Square. When we talk about Black Lives Matter, rioting and looting, it stays on topic. I don't know why when you bring up slavery, they sold slaves in Africa, or Egypt was doing it. Why is it zoomed out so damn much? We're talking about the American slave trade. Yeah, every country on earth has a history of slavery. But if that's the case, every country on earth has a history of rioting and looting as well. It never zooms out to that range when we're discussing the riots and looting of Black Lives Matter. I don't know why it does that when we're talking about slavery. Well, let's not just talk about America. Let's talk about Egypt, or they have slaves in Syria. That's not the conversation. We're talking about America. I don't know why it goes out that way. But anyway, TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Why are there not more discussions on President Biden? Why is that? Why is it always about Trump? Electric Wolf 45. Good afternoon. It's called pivoting, says Grandma. Yeah, I don't totally disagree with that. I don't totally disagree with that at all. Electric Wolf didn't come up, so we will continue on with Metalhead. Good afternoon, Metalhead. Talking about Trump derangement syndrome, because Trump is breaking the law. Well, he has to be convicted first. Got to get a man his due process rights. What do they say? Innocent until proven guilty. A lot of folks want the guy hung now. DJ Julio, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. My box is giving me some trouble today. Let me give this a moment to time out, and we'll continue on. If you don't allow your civilians protest, you will cause a revolution. Every empire paid for that. That's well stated. Mad Ass Yellow Boy. Love the name. That is, if you squash folks' First Amendment rights, it will lead to other problems. I agree with that wholeheartedly. If he'd shut his mouth, he'd be halfway okay, says Big Nasty, indicating that if Trump was not always running his mouth, he'd be a far better candidate, a far better politician. I gotta say I do agree with that as well. FSU was holding on. FSU. Good afternoon. You don't have to be proven guilty to have had broken the law. Shout out to OJ Simpson. You're probably right, but until they do, we got to say, he doesn't have a record. FSU, you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Talking about the media deliberately trying to destroy Trump's image to the point where he would actually be loved by everyone, had somebody tell me, if it wasn't for the media always bashing him. What say you?
I think it's insanity. We're not trying to love our politicians. We elect them to do a job, and I think more than half of the voting population showed in 2020, and they'll show again this year that he didn't do a good job. So it's just as simple as that. I don't think, most people go to the poll and say, "Hey, I'm finna vote because I love this guy." I don't think it's on that level for most people.
You don't think some people was loving Obama? They had the song "I Got a Crush on Obama." There were people that loved Obama, had him on T-shirts and everything.
Listen, you're gonna have a fraction of any group of people that's far left or far right, and maybe they lean into a love thing like that. But I don't think the majority of the voters go and elect somebody because it's a love or because it's a popularity contest. If they do, then I think that's the wrong approach. I think it's about the job. And I don't think Trump, I'm trying not to be hyperbolic, but I don't think he was wildly successful in any of his policies. I think the pandemic handling that, I think we had a great economy before he entered office. I think if people want to lean on the gas was $1 in February 2016, and Obama, I don't think I've seen anything. And it's not just Trump. I think the whole Republican platform, I think a lot of their legislation is oppressive.
Wow.
And,
give me an example. What are the Republican policies or legislation that's oppressive?
You just want one? I'll give you a few. Healthcare.
Give me what you got.
Yeah, healthcare is a start. I think, and again, I think this is a principle of the Republican Party is they don't see healthcare as beneficial for everyone. Tim, I see your show and I like your show, but honestly, I don't know you from a can of paint. But what I can say is the healthier you are, the more educated you and your family is, I think it's better for our economy and our country.
Okay.
And Republican people don't see things like that. So yeah, they're trying to fracture our public education. They're trying to limit the amount of healthcare access that we have.
How are they trying to limit healthcare access? I don't get that.
Republicans?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at.
Oh, well, abortion. I guess you're talking about abortion.
No, I said healthcare, abortion too. But you don't think Republicans are trying to limit healthcare access?
Give me an example of how you're saying that. No, I don't.
Okay, so the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare was modeled after Romney.
Okay.
The state of Massachusetts.
I thought you might say that. Here's the response I would say to that. I don't think it's about limiting healthcare access. I think that Republicans are more in line with capitalism and not forcing people to, because the access you're talking about is making sure the downtrodden have, access. Folks who can't afford it can have it. Well, the money has to come from somewhere, and I do believe the Republican Party focuses more on the bottom line, more on money than any damn thing else. Yeah, they will let you die if it means that I don't have to pay for it. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
Said they're trying to limit healthcare. We passed the Affordable Health Care Act. There are people 60 years old, they have midwives, they've never been to the doctor. That's not healthy. I think it actually contributes to the high price of healthcare because the quicker, the faster you fail, the quicker, the cheaper it is. So if you have some type of problem, whether it's cancer or something like that, the quicker we find it, everyone should be going to the doctor annually and just getting checkups. Again, I think it feeds into our productivity as a country, but not just healthcare, education, limiting, fair wages. All of that contribute. I think the Republican Party has leaned into that. Historically, they're going to be on the wrong side of those things. So I
get your point. I would my verbiage of it would be different, but I think we're on the same page that I believe the Republican Party is focused on the individual bottom line of the individual. So if you're talking about forcing a person who has worked hard, that they have their own income, to do anything for somebody who has less than them, if it's going to come by force, they're against it. If that person who has their own income and is doing all right wants to voluntarily contribute, so be it. But if the government wants them to force them to contribute in any way, fashion, or form, they're against it. That's the way I see it. So I get what you're saying. I don't think it's limiting healthcare. I think it's protecting the person who has something, protecting their money.
If we federally pass the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, and you have states like Louisiana, and they saying, hey, we don't want the funds, we don't want to give our citizens in this state access to that program, I think is limiting. It is not just that; it's a number of things. It might be lunches for kids, school kids. Yeah. They got several states that just are just concretely opposed to that. Yeah. And again, I think I'll sum it up like this, and I know you got a big show. The Republican Party has leaned into Reagan's trickle-down economics, and in my opinion, it's almost like they're pissing on people. And I don't care if you give them a raincoat, you still getting pissed on. The opposition to that, or the counterpoint, I think, is a JFK approach. And this is from one of his economic speeches, and he says a high tide raises all ships. I think our country is stronger when we help the least among us. It's not going to be. We're in a society where it's capitalistic, and there are going to always be the poor people among us, but they don't have to be that damn poor.
I agree with that, but
people are getting the poor. That's what's happened in the last 40 years or since Reagan. People, they're going to always be poor people and marginalized people, but they don't have to be you don't have to put your thumb on the scale and oppress them. And I think that's what's being done. I think our middle class is shrinking. I think the poorest among us is getting poor, and the wealthier are getting more wealthy. Corporations are getting more wealthy. I don't think the Republican Party will come in and say, hey, we need to cut taxes, but it's no different than me or you and our wife saying they're going to start working. Then we have to have a decision with our spouses and say, okay, well, what are we going to cut out of our budget? So anytime somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to cut taxes, they better have a plan. What are they cutting to? You got to have a real conversation when you say, I want to cut taxes. It sounds good, especially if it's a temporary tax cut to the middle class. And it's a permanent tax cut. So I think corporations are on welfare too. And when you hear welfare, it's not just some single mom somewhere and she's not doing her part. I think these corporations aren't paying their fair share. And I think until we change that, until we stop being focused on just cutting taxes and not having a level of understanding on what policies are going to be cut. Are you okay with them cutting taxes and cutting how strong our military is? No. Are you okay with them cutting Social Security?
Yeah, I mean, you do, as you stated, cutting taxes, the money's got to come from somewhere. And it's usually from the people at the bottom.
Like, yeah, you want, I'll end with this because I know I'm long-winded. Republicans they try to make it seem like Democrats want something for nothing. Well, Republicans don't want to pay taxes, so it means you don't want a strong military, you don't want public education, you don't want the things too that the taxes pay for. So we got to have a level of understanding, hey, things cost, we're going to have to pay taxes, and a tax cut isn't always the answer.
Yeah. Some would argue that, but we'll see how it goes with Trump's tax cuts in terms of the upper echelon. They've had a basically an indefinite tax cut. We'll see what that continues to do to the economy.
At face value, why? Somebody explain that. Why would you give corporations a permanent tax cut, but then everyone else gets a temporary tax cut?
Because that helps lock in the corporate vote. So,
does corporations vote? That doesn't make sense.
As Mitt Romney once said, corporations are people too. There's somebody running an organization.
He got it completely wrong. I don't agree with that. I think, again, the majority of people didn't get a permanent tax.
Well, here's the point. If you cut taxes to corporations, there is somebody out there benefiting from those cuts, and that's who you are going to get likely to vote for you. That's what he means by corporations
that's
of people
a component of trickle down economics. Sure, it's at face value, it sounds good.
I'm just saying, I'm not labeling it. I'm just saying when you cut corporate taxes, somebody is seeing that as a reason to vote for you.
Okay, so here's the thing: those tax cuts were temporary, and they just went on to cut the government's credit card. They increased the debt, and the people don't have the intellectual understanding to see, like, hey, when you cut taxes, you just said it, we both agree, the money has to come from somewhere. So it's either going to go into debt or...
They don't care about all that. I get your point. They don't care. They care about getting votes. Just like Biden with these immigrants, it's going to turn into votes. I don't think he cares about what it's doing to the economy in the future. It's about getting votes. They don't care about the stuff you're talking about. Yes, it's true, but they're only going to be around for 4 to 8 years. They're focusing on votes, not how the tax cut hurts the economy. They're focusing on themselves, man. That's what a politician does. I got to move it on, though. Appreciate you coming in.
Pleasure, man.
Anytime. Looking in the comments, someone stated that the real Sherry said the richest country that pays the most to protect the world. In other words, we are not selfish. We pay more money to protect the world. Well, we're getting benefits from that. There's a reason why we're fine helping out countries internationally and not helping out the poor here. There is helping out the Ukraine or helping out Israel, that equates to an investment. That will come back to pay dividends. Helping out some poor person doesn't come back and turn into cash. They will have favors with the Ukraine, favors with Israel, weapons contracts will be developed from that, alliances. That's an investment. That's not money lost when you help out the Ukraine or help out these other countries. That turns around and becomes profit. Helping out the poor does not. That's why our country is more in favor of helping out folks internationally and not helping us out. Or as Tupac once said, you got money for wars but can't feed the poor. Looking in the comment, going back to the box, moving it on with Julio, Andy, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Media bashing Trump. That's what's hurting his image. Trump would be well loved. I had somebody tell me everybody would love Trump if the media was not always bashing him. Andy, good afternoon. What say you?
I say that they need to look at his entire past and all the years he was on TV, and they should have caught that documentary from the 90s. Like, no. Trump is a disaster unto himself. His own mouth has cost him more problems than anything. Like, being on Howard Stern and calling his daughter a hot piece of you-know-what.
Why would he do that? He did say that. He did. Why would he do that?
He did. And saying his daughter Tiffany was going to be like her mom because she had hot legs. She was 9 months old, but we didn't know what her top was going to look like. She was an infant. Let's see.
Why would a man say his own daughter's a hot piece of ass? I don't get that.
He said her and Ivanka had sex in common.
Yeah, he did. He said that on The View. I do remember.
How is the media hurting him? He's hurting him.
Well, they claim putting him on TV every day, all day, speaking negatively of him. Well,
wait, isn't that what he wanted to do when he was on Twitter? Like, rule the airway? Like, it's funny how he wants to dominate all these spaces when he's doing good. But when he's not doing good, it's all their fault.
Well, let me give it to you this way. Here's a perfect example. Let me give it to you this way. Cool T in the comments, because you're talking about the way Trump talked about his daughter. When we say the media bashing Trump, maybe giving Biden a pass. Cool T says, why was Biden taking showers with his daughter? That does not get the media
attention. Said that wasn't true. Her diary was stolen. That wasn't in her handwriting. And she said that wasn't true. Trump's daughter has never said what he wasn't true because we heard it out of his damn mouth.
That is a fact. He did say it
on TV. I love the way they try to make other people dirty to take off their dirt. You know, Republicans never own their crap. Like January 6th. I wanted so badly you to ask your caller 3 back while he was complaining about the protest did it wrong. What about Jan 6, dude? What about them? Did they do it right? I wanted so bad for you to ask that.
You know, maybe I've had too much sugar today because I should have asked that question. You know, you're talking about people don't.
That's why I was screaming, please let me talk to him.
Well, there's a lot of folks who don't believe that January 6th was Trump supporters at all. That was Antifa. That was Ray
bless
Epps.
their heart. This is what I just said to you, Tim. Why is it Republicans have abdicated responsibility?
Well,
When has anything been their fault recently? Not, I mean, like anything that happened. Not us. No, we're perfect.
what are you saying? They're like Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Yep. Meanwhile, they dirty as hell. You just know they are.
I don't know. Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry. I find that to be so laughable when he himself has caused the most damage to his reputation because he won't shut up. Like out in front of the courthouse before he went on trial, he admitted to what he did with Stormy Daniels, but because he worded it different, he thought that would be okay. Did nobody tell him he had the First Amendment right to shut the hell up?
Wait. Did he? You said he admitted what he did with Stormy Daniels. How
he
so?
tried to say, oh, I paid her, but it was like this, and I'm like, dude, you should just shut up. You just sunk your lawyers. That was 2 days ago.
But he's still saying he never slept with her.
Okay. Why is it he said he slept with her before, though? He just paid her off. Like that. Which lie are we sticking to today?
So let me ask you this, because you're talking
Somebody
about...
says I was lying. Look, honey, Trump said it both ways, so you can do whatever you want, but I can't pick both lies. I just can't.
Are you trying to tell me Trump is not trustworthy, not credible?
You trust him?
Sometimes. Not all the time. I think some of the things
he's...
he's...
alone with your wife? Would you loan him money?
I don't have enough money.
Come on.
I don't have enough money to loan Trump to work. I think he'll pay me back. I mean, I'm not going to loan him much.
How did that guy that lost his whole life savings on True Social, that bought all that stock? A guy bought.
Yes, that was
everything.
Crazy. I mean, like we all was talking about that when they evaluated Truth Social at 3.5 billion. The first thing everybody said is nobody uses it. I even said that on my program. I did a quick.
Democrats. We are watching to keep up with them. So half the damn platform are Democrats that are just sitting by laughing.
Yeah, because I asked that on the program. I said, how many of you folks either have a profile or regularly go on Truth Social? And I think one person, and I got a lot of MAGA watch the program, and I'm like, how could it be worth this much money when nobody's using it? It's just going on there to hear his quotes.
Well, Democrats are just waiting to see what they're going to do, on the next election, to see if we need to, make sure we're not going to have civil, unrest. And that's truth. We primarily watch it to see if they're going to be dangerous to us.
Well, in the comments, Anglefan Gaming, friend of the program as well, says the left thinks January 6th was worse than 9/11. Do the Democrats really think that?
No.
Okay, I didn't think
insane. So. We're mad because they broke the peaceful transfer of power after this country has had its entirety. We're mad that they tried to, make sure that there wasn't any of the constitutional safeguards in play to make sure he didn't stay in the office. Yeah. I mean, literally, I think the entire Freedom Caucus should go to jail with him because they knew ahead of time. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been fake electorates. How you get fake electorates from all these places if all these congressmen don't know? They knew.
But they're not even.
Tommy Tuberville knew. He got a phone call.
But they're not even going to, at least in some of the states, they're not even going to really punish those who have pled guilty to being a fake elector. I think Fonnie Willis is going after him, but in Wisconsin, they didn't do anything to him.
Well, I think DeSantis is going to make sure Matt Gaetz gets his.
What do you mean?
Well, since Matt Gaetz removed their Speaker of the House, did you not hear them come out and say, oh, Matt was showing pictures and videos of underage women on the Congress floor? Or did you not hear that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yes. So his own congressman got mad because he ousted McCarthy, and they ratted him out. And there's an investigation in play.
I don't know why Trump, because Trump has a lot of power over the Republican Party, why he don't reign, because there's only a handful of Congress that are far right, like the Gates and...
Oh, somebody got the list for us. Tom Cotton, Josh Hawley, MTG, Lauren Boebert. Thanks, Farmer.
I don't know why Trump doesn't tell them we need to win first. You guys need to calm this. I mean, right now, Marjorie Taylor says she's going to get rid of the speaker again. Calm this down until after the damn election.
He didn't drain the swamp. He brought the swamp. D.C. is more swampier than when Trump got there. And not because of Biden. It's what he left in there from his previous administration.
Yeah.
And the people, have you seen the people? He's bringing back Steve Miller. I mean, his new inner circle. Did you see that?
But I'm going to tell you, Andy, people look, even though you're saying all this stuff, people look at the 4 years Trump was in office, minus the pandemic, and they're like, it's a hell of a lot better than it is now. So people are willing to put up with this to get.
I don't know if they don't understand mathematics, they don't understand the economy, or if they're just brainwashed into Trump's cult, where he's been out baptizing people in his name, and they don't believe the truth anymore. Or
I haven't seen that.
Fox News, who has lied to them exclusively, told them nothing but garbage for 10 years. I guess they do have a slight loose hold on reality. Maybe if Fox News told the truth and OAN told the truth, their grasp would be a little better.
But you know, I have not seen, you mentioned this before, people being baptized in Trump's name. I still have yet, by the way, folks, tap the screen, get me on up to 30,000. I haven't asked that, but I haven't seen people being baptized in Trump's name.
I sent you a video of that. Yes, you have. Quit lying. Don't
I must have missed that one.
Yes, you have. And do you know that that's what they were doing at the border? The crew from the border was from Michael Flynn's Reawakening tour. Yeah. So they went down there, baptized some people at the border, had a fight because they couldn't find enough immigrants to get rid of. Even said so on the news. And then threw out the MAGA guy from California. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
You know why? Because there's so much bullshit on the news constantly that we have now a 5-second memory because Trump has grabbed so much crap down our throat, we can't remember it all.
Which is the second topic of the show. Why the hell doesn't Biden get more coverage? Is Biden getting a pass in order to demonize Trump? Trump derangement syndrome?
Shut up. No, because Trump won't shut up. Like, the news might have time to dig into Biden if Trump would shut the hell up.
I can't argue with you on that. Trump doesn't let a day go by in silence.
States with total bans are not helping Donald Trump's ass at all.
No. Well, Arizona got rid of that 1864 law apparently yesterday.
Too late, though. Women already know.
Yeah. I think it is
like
too late.
Alabama and that egg. We saw what you wanted to do. We don't trust you now.
I do believe the damage is done. But I got to move it on, Andy.
See you, Tim.
Good talk. Baptized in the name of Trump. I gotta find that though. All right, moving.
I'll send you the video.
Please.
Get rid of me. I can't find the little thing. Drop me. I can't.
All right, please send me that. Looking in the comments, too late for Republicans, says Lisa. I do believe the Arizona abortion bill is going to hurt. I mean, because it was repealed by a Democratic governor too. So it might lead one to suggest that if Arizona was completely red, they would not have gotten rid of it. So it'll be curious to see how much damage, because I get a lot of MAGA women on here. Where are all my Republican women? I get a lot of women that are pro-Trump. So I don't know. We'll see. Looking in the comments, the Dems need to let the GOP just hurt themselves and stop helping them. Well, the Dems are being hurt too. The border is reflecting negatively on Biden. It is. Unfortunately, there has not been an 1864 law with undocumented immigrants. What the hell do I mean by that? The 1864 law in Arizona is an extreme example of what can happen if you ban abortion. All you need is one undocumented immigrant to go on like a mass killing spree or something like that, and that would be an 1864 law in terms of undocumented immigrants. Fortunately, there hasn't been much mayhem among undocumented immigrants because the Republicans are playing every damn thing they can find, which makes political sense. You hear about the nursing student in Georgia that was murdered. They played the hell out of that. If you had an undocumented resident go out and do something really, really heinous, that would be like an 1864 law, Arizona law. I mean, the right is looking for that. The right is looking for some really, really bad hombres, to quote number 45. They just can't find enough of them. Looking in the comments, though. By the way, tap the screen. Get me on up to 45,000. Over 500 of you in here. Same on YouTube. If you guys enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, you are in the right place. We believe in free speech here. DJ Julio. Yeah! Check for you in the box there. We don't block, ban, or censor here. Free speech is what it's all about here. If you disagree with somebody in the comment section or even yours truly, nobody gives a damn. We go left to Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with QAnon. Everyone gets to speak regardless of your opinion, even if it's critical of me. DJ Julio, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Asking that question, is the media bashing President Trump? Julio, good afternoon. DJ Julio.
I'm doing pretty good. I got a bad connection on my end.
Yeah.
I got a bad connection on my end. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you got it back. All right, we'll move it on. There's some kind of there is some problem there because you obviously couldn't hear the statement. Oh God, DJ Julio, be kind to my guest. Julio is certainly a friend of the show. May have a difference of opinion than you yourself, but understand if your opinion is different than his, you will be allowed to state it as well. Sorry about the signal, DJ. Republicans are egoists, anti-humanity, selfish, think only about themselves. Damn, I don't know if I would take it that far in the comment section there on YouTube. Real quick, looking, thank you for the super chat, Ace Ventura. In regards to calling in, because my YouTubers asked this, I don't know how to finagle YouTube to allow for viewers to call in as well. All of the folks you hear calling in are coming off the TikTok side. We're broadcasting on both TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. So for you YouTubers wondering how do you actually get on live, the program is originating from TikTok. The Handsome Liberal, well, we're on the backup page. So the Handsome Liberal, the final L on liberal is not there. This is the backup. We'll be on the main profile tomorrow, but the Handsome Liberal is where you'll find us on TikTok Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. Right now, the Handsome Liberal without the final L is how you can actually go and call in. That's where we're coming from. Looking in the comments, if they baptize in the name of Trump instead of being dunked in the water, do they miss the baby spray, miss the babies? Wait a minute, do they miss the babies in spray tan? So in other words, if you're getting baptized in the name of Trump, do the babies get sprayed with orange tanning paint? Oh my God. I hope not. I don't want to see any orange babies. Yikes. Let's not get petty again. Stop hating on my man's eyes. A person can't, oh my God. Person can't help how they are born, but you can choose not to be a dick. Margus Stanley, are they hating on my eyes? Is that what it is? Is it yours truly? Are they hating on my eyes? Y'all don't really follow Anderson Copper. I don't really like the liberal news. Well, WAP, that's the individual's name. Shout out to Cardi B. We all know what WAP is. But in regards to not liking the liberal news, if you're not liberal, I can totally understand it. Now, I lean left politically, but I absorb a hell of a lot of right-wing media. But I understand not liking the liberal news. A lot of folks favor echo chambers. Now, real quick, this program is not that. We allow folks to speak on both sides of the aisle. A lot of people don't want to hear an opinion they disagree with. So I do appreciate all you folks tuning in here daily to hear opinions from both sides. A lot of people don't like to hear shit they disagree with. They'll turn it off. Which is why Fox News, for instance, they don't cover a lot of negative press about Trump. Like right now, he's in trial. They're talking more about UCLA and Columbia students and the anti-Semitic portions of the protest, even though the top presidential contender is actually in court for a criminal case. They're not covering that much because they know, talking about Fox News, that a lot of their viewers want to hear news that is favorable to Trump. And if you start playing this trial, some folks, this is just more bullshit. It's a damn witch and I don't want to see this shit, and they'll turn the channel off. So to prevent MAGA from turning off the channel, Fox News don't cover much of it. Only from an aspect that it's a witch hunt. But the actual testimony things, they're not really covering it. And I've been listening to Fox all day. They don't cover it. Continuing on with E-Ball. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Democrats try to act innocent and won't give Republicans back the shit they give them. Wow. Not much at all. We're talking about the media bashing Trump. What say you?
I I found out something today about the border, and I would like everybody to fact check it. It was said that Biden tried to renew Trump's stay in Mexico policy, and the Supreme Court shot it down.
You know, here's the crazy thing about that. If that is true, if what you found out is true, you shouldn't be telling us. Biden should.
Well, I think we both know that Biden's hands are tied.
His hands ain't that tied. He could have all of the time he's been in office. You're telling me he could not have told us this?
Well, from what I read, Biden had a border policy ready to go his first as soon as he got in office. Nobody ever talked about that.
Yeah, but it goes back to my original statement. This is one of the issues with the Biden campaign is they don't talk and tell people things. Charlemagne the God, the YouTuber that Biden said, vote for me and you ain't black, the guy he said that to, he claims that Trump is better at lying than Biden is at telling the truth. Fact is, Biden needs to talk more. He needs to promote things like what you're talking about if that's true.
Honestly, I guess if I was Biden going against somebody like Trump, I would just keep my mouth shut and just let Trump hang himself. I
don't know. Hillary Clinton tried that to some degree, and how did that work out? I mean, he had to grab him by the pussy, was out back then. I mean, he had talked about John McCain and did a host of things, and it got him in office. Letting that man speak, and you remain silent when a lot of the things he's saying is anti-you, I don't know if that's advisable.
Well, but one thing people don't realize, when Trump made that comment about John McCain, the military was not laughing. I promise you that.
Yeah.
They do not respect him.
But he got voted in office, though. So I don't know if that... I get your point. But at the end of the day, he won.
Yeah, but he won by a small margin.
A win is a win.
If we went by real voters, Hillary Clinton would have been elected.
At the end of the day, Trump is the nation's 45th president. Hillary Clinton is a contender that will fall off in history. He won, even by a small margin. Even if he didn't win a popular vote, he won.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's something that worries me. Everybody's talking about how they're going after abortion. But what they're doing in the background, what they really want to do, is they want to take women's right to vote away. People need to understand that.
Evidence. How? What makes you say that?
Look it up. Republicans been in the background trying to do this forever. They think a woman belongs in the kitchen, not in the voters.
And that's based on what?
You have to look it up. Fact check it.
You can't give me anything but look it up?
I read up on it like it exists. I'm telling you.
Where did you find this information? Is the source reliable?
My fiance's been teaching for over 20 years. She could probably become a politician. And she showed me something that the Republicans have been after to change women's votes. That's real.
Here's where I have a problem.
This is a black woman I'm talking about.
Here's where I have a problem with it. And the race of the woman doesn't matter. Here's the problem I have. We have a few Republican governors that are women in some of the reddest states. I mean, I think Kristi Noem of South Dakota, that's a red state. The governor of Alabama's she's a female. I think Louisiana has had a female governor that was Republican, if I'm correct. I'm not seeing it. In red states, women have the right to vote, and I don't know of any of these states that have tried to even propose legislation that would have taken away a woman's right to vote. If what you're saying is true, then in deep red states where liberals are not even interfering with their politics, there should be proposals at least to take away a woman's right to vote, and I haven't heard any of this.
Well, Republicans always want to take away. They never want to give. So they're going after a woman's right to choose. They're going after affirmative action. They're going after voters' rights. This is all stuff that hurts the Republican Party.
Okay.
Numbers.
Well,
Republican Party.
they're not going after affirmative action. They've taken that away already. A woman's right to choose, they've taken that away in their areas. They haven't taken it away in liberal areas, but they've already taken it away in their areas. And to some degree, they're preventing women that want to leave and go in other states. And they're so they are, two of those you're absolutely correct about. Now, taking away voters' rights, explain that.
They are limited polling places. That they are doing a lot of shady shit in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, when they told me that there was voter fraud in Pennsylvania, where I live, and I know I'm union. I've been in the union for 20 years.
Uh-huh.
I know how it works. I work the polls. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
I really took that to heart.
Yeah, Dr. Oz, who Trump was backing in your Senate race there, also said what you're talking about, because once Fetterman started leading, Trump started alleging there was cheating in your state, and Dr. Oz came forward and said that's not happening. Even though he was Trump was supporting him, even Dr. Oz came forward and said, nobody's cheating like that. So, I mean, maybe they have said a few things were happening in your state that were not.
I will say this. What happened in 2020, all the unions got together and they voted Trump out.
I'm hearing I've had some MAGA come on the program and say unions are pro-Trump.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Trump represents everything against us.
Give me some examples.
When he had his properties in New York and he had the electricians, the plumbers, anytime he could, he screwed them over. They would agree on a price, and then Trump would take them to court, and then he would keep taking them to court until they either quit or they were bankrupt. Yes. He hurt a lot of people.
Now, I will say this. I do agree with you about 90% in regards to unions. To me, it makes no sense for unions to be pro-Republican because Republicans are pro-big business. However, the Border Patrol, their union did endorse Trump.
Yeah.
I believe the police unions are favorable to Trump, too. So
I think we're in trouble. I really do. Like, I don't.
What do you fear? You say you think we're in trouble. What do you fear most if Trump is reelected?
I believe the leaders think Trump is weak. I think they think he's a fool, and they just play to him.
You're saying you believe the world leaders think Trump is weak?
Yes.
Wow. They usually say that about Biden.
I think putting Trump out there when they laughed at him destabilized America. That's what I believe.
Okay,
I think everybody out there looked at him like a joke.
I don't know. Kim Jong-un allowed him to come to North Korea and meet him. Vladimir Putin allowed him to come to Russia and meet him.
Yeah, think about the two people you just named.
I tried. All right, I got to move it on, E-Ball.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Trump is an opportunist. He's going to play any way he can that suits him.
That's called politics. I think Biden would do the same thing. Certainly with the border, Biden is doing the same thing.
But please look up that thing I told you about the border. About Biden trying to renew Trump's stay in Mexico policy.
I had already,
that's the one.
Yeah, I had already heard about that. I do believe that is valid, but like I stated, Biden needs to do a better job. It shouldn't be you and me talking about it. It should be him. Every time they hammer Biden about the border, he should be telling folks that, and he has done a very poor job of that. But I've heard about what you're talking about quite a while ago. But I do got to move it on, E-Ball. Thank you for coming through. Gen Xer, always controversial, always delivers bullshit. I want to give women some bread, ham, cheese, mayo, tomatoes, and mustard. That's giving, not taking. You want to give women bread, ham, cheese, mayo, tomatoes. You want to give them a BLT? Is that what I'm hearing? Gen X, I don't quite get that. All right. He don't want to say out loud he agreed with Trump on anything, says Blue Flame. Yeah, you're right. There are folks who hate Trump so damn much. They don't want to agree with him on anything. That's why some folks say, well, he could cure cancer and they would still hate the guy. Well, I get folks on the other side as well that I could bring up something of Obama or something of Biden that Trump agreed with, such as the TikTok ban. I'm no fan of the TikTok ban, but Trump was totally in favor of doing it as well. And now all of a sudden, Biden has, well, they've already done it, by the way. They got a month, I think. But all of a sudden, once Biden was getting it done, it suddenly became a bad idea, even though Trump was promoting it and folks were favorable to Trump. Sometimes it's like that. It's not necessarily about doing what's right. It's about making sure your side gets the credit for it. The border bill is a primary example of that. That bill would have passed if Trump was in office. That bill would have passed if Trump didn't say any damn thing. That bill was shot down specifically because of Trump. Folks say, well, all of a sudden, it had a bunch of bullshit in it, had a bunch of money to Ukraine and things like that. Damn it, we decided to get the money to Ukraine anyway. So now the good part of the bill, which was at least imposing limits. Now I understand if you're MAGA, you're my beloved MAGA, you don't believe the bill went far enough. I get it. They still were talking about letting 5,000 to 8,000 immigrants in per week. Right now that number's way higher than that. So it was going to limit it. But if you want the border shut down, it didn't go far enough. I get that. But it's way better than what we have now. Folks shot that down because the money to Ukraine and Israel and all that stuff was in there. Well, by shooting that down, you lost the limits on controlling the border. They threw it out and decided to just give all of the bad shit you didn't want alone. So the money to Ukraine and Israel still happened, but now you didn't even get the border package that you wanted. So you could have had some good and some bad. You said, scrap that. They went around you and now they delivered all the things you don't like. It's crazy. It's a total loss, if you ask me. Going back to the box. Now, I see in the comments somebody said we lost TikTok. We will not lose TikTok. Let me let you guys know right off the bat. TikTok is not going anywhere. Tap the screen, get me on up to 60,000 likes. This is an uncensored program. Always has been, always will be. MAGA are my preferred guests. This is a MAGA-friendly program. TikTok's not going anywhere. They gave them a month to either sell the social media platform or they will ban it in the United States. TikTok's worth billions of dollars. If you own something, let's say you own a fancy car or some shit like that, and you don't want to get rid of it, but the government is saying your car is not street legal. The government wants to seize your car, but they say if you can find a buyer, so be it. Otherwise, we're going to seize it from your property within a month. And your car is worth an astronomical amount of money. What are you going to do? You're going to keep it there and let them see it? No, you're going to sell the damn thing. And that's what's going to happen with TikTok. TikTok is worth billions of dollars. They'll just sell it. Simple as that. TikTok is not going anywhere. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with Stick. The ruler was on hold. Thank you for holding on, Stick. TikTok ban. Oh, given a year. Oh, it has a year. I didn't know that. Okay. Stick, good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Is the media ruining Trump's image? I had somebody tell me, everybody, this is a quote, everybody would love Trump if it wasn't for the media always bashing him. What say you?
I say like your other lady guest that you had on, that Trump did everything to himself. I mean, he, first of all, he hired Michael Cohen. And second of all, he hired, in a sense, Stormy Daniels.
You said he hired Stormy Daniels?
hey, I mean, money, and, she wouldn't have been there without it. So, I mean, I'm just saying, he paid her too. That's what the hush money is about, right? Hush money?
Yeah, but Trump says he never slept with her, though.
Come on, man. So what's she signed the NDA for?
Well,
What's the whole reason behind that? If he never slept with her, why did she have to sign an NDA as well as the other Playboy bunny? Why did she have to sign it?
well, they may have come forth with a story that was somewhat credible, even if it wasn't true. So they just signed them to make them go away. An example, a real world example of that is there was a doorman at Trump Towers or something like that, suggesting that Trump had a love child by another woman that was proven false. But he was going to still use it to destroy Trump's campaign. They paid him off too. And that is 100% false.
Okay, so you telling me about one story, but at the end of the day, that's one story. Just because that one story isn't true, and that man signed that NDA or whatever the case may be as well, because he said he was going to do that and they knew it was false. My thing is this: you don't pay nobody for false stuff. You just let it go.
No.
His skin is supposed to be, his skin is supposed to be so thick that he don't care about what nobody says. So at the end of the day, why do you care?
You know, if what you are trying to achieve is big enough, you might pay somebody off to hide something that you didn't do. Let's say, for instance, your neighbor had a plumbing issue at 2 o'clock in the morning and your wife was out of town and you didn't normally do it, but look, she's claiming the place is flooded. Now you go over there to help her fix a plumbing issue in the middle of the night, and you know she snaps a picture or whatever of you there, and she's happened to be wearing her underwear or some shit. You didn't do a damn thing with her, but you love your wife, and she's asking for a few bucks to say she won't tell. You might just pay her off to make that shit go away, even though it's based on a complete lie.
No. Time out. Because first of all, if my wife was home when I got that phone call, she know exactly where I'm going. And then on top of that,
No, your wife is out of town. Your wife ain't home.
Oh, okay. Well, then again, if my wife is out of town and somebody calls me telling me about their plumbing, and I say
you know what I'm talking about. I get it. You won't do it, but you
go ahead. Hold on. I'm gonna give it to you blunt raw. I'm finna call my wife, tell her such and such said this. If my wife tell me you can go, I'm gonna be honest with you, then I'm gonna go. But my wife tell me hell no, have whoever fix it, then that's what it is. You see, Trump ain't got that problem. Trump got the problem of I got all the money in the world, I already got a fine wife, so I'm gonna do what the hell I want to do. And you know it, and I know it. Listen. I'm done giving him stretching room. I'm done giving him like excuses. I'm not MAGA. I'm going to tell you blunt raw what was in his mind. What was on his mind was he got the nook and cranny. He didn't want her to say nothing. Whether it was because
wait, you said he got the nook and cranny. What term did you use?
The nook and cranny? You know what the nook and cranny is. Stop it. I'm being TikTok friendly.
The nook and cranny. All right, I've never heard about to go over here and get me some nook and cranny. All right, keep going.
Yeah, he got the nook and cranny, and he didn't want his wife to know, right?
Okay.
So Michael Cohen being the guy that he is, because you was talking to him, he said, check this out. If you ain't gonna pay this girl, she keeps saying she want the money. I'm your lawyer. I'm trying to protect you. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put up my house, and you just gonna have to pay me back, homie. And he said, well, good, because it looked like I ain't giving her money. So hell yeah, let's do it.
Now, when I talked to Michael Cohen myself, he said he didn't take out a home loan to pay her back. He said he already had a revolving line of credit on his house and just used that money. And I asked him, I said, well, why, if you're making so much money as you're bragging about, why would you have to do this? And he said that I was doing it to hide the payment from my own wife. Because I asked him, I said, well, how the hell does that not make you look like you're lacking credibility? You helped Trump hide a mistress from his wife with a payment that you were trying to hide from your wife. He didn't like when I asked him that, but I did ask him.
But at the end of the day, the lawyer is always supposed to look out for the client. Or 9 times out of 10.
Over his wife?
Listen, again, the lawyer, especially at that time, you got to realize, man, he's still messing with somebody that he probably thought he would never even be able to be in contact with. and he's the main lawyer. He's the main fixer. So at the end of the day, like, you're in a dream position at the time, at least you think, till everything crumbles down. And then guess what? Who's the one that's tied into everybody's shiggity and everybody's sentences? Donald Trump. And this is where we're at.
But let me ask you this simple question. This is I think it's kind of yes or no worthy. Is Michael Cohen credible?
I would believe that he is.
Is Stormy Daniels credible?
I believe that she is. She puts her whole everything out there. You know, when she's working, she puts everything out there. So she's not hiding nothing.
She's
right
actually,
now.
I've seen her work. I've seen her work.
Okay, so the whole point I'm trying to make is, right, okay, it's cool that we can take Sammy the Bull's word, even though he was the one that actually did all of these deeds, in the sense of, even in the movie, they said, dang, every time I turn around, he wants to somebody. Right?
I didn't hear it. Wait, say that again?
He wants to whack somebody.
Okay.
In the movie, John Gotti was stated saying, every time he turns around, Sammy the Bull wants to whack somebody.
Okay.
Right? So then on top of that, the FBI is hearing this. So what happened was, John Gotti, just like this is what Trump wants to be, he had the people backing him up in his barrels, right? The barrels that he controlled as the crime boss. Okay. Those people, regardless of what he did and who he hurt, they were backing him. This is MAGA, right? He goes into court. He really didn't want to be there, but he was there. He was known as a Teflon Don because he kept beating charges. This is who Donald Trump wants to be, okay? Now, as far as running his crew like the Gambino family, again, this is Donald Trump.
You think do you think he'll actually be found guilty? You think Alvin Bragg is actually going to get a conviction?
I believe so.
Really?
My whole thing of it is, I believe so, because it's the evidence. You know, when you have a grand jury bring up indictments, that means there's evidence of wrongdoing. Now, will they prove it in court that he actually did it? I believe yes, because there's always a 50-50 chance that he might get off. But at the end of the day, if the grand jury is like, yeah, go ahead, 9 times out of 10, there is enough evidence to get a conviction, especially in a federal case.
But speaking of federal cases, Jack Smith of the documents fame turned this case down. Jack Smith could have been going after him as well. He turned this case down. Does that say anything about how weak or how lame this case is, that Alvin Bragg had to pursue it at a state level when Jack Smith turned it down at a federal level?
Well, yeah. See, it's a lot of lawyering involved and a whole bunch of stuff that I really don't have expertise in. The only thing I do know is when it comes down to a grand jury, right? And they see the evidence, it's just the point of them saying, well, we think you have enough to convict, or we don't see it, and no, you can't proceed. But with all of them, they proceeded, but the judge took down a couple of them. It's 87, 88 now versus
88. It's 88. I gotta move it on, but it's 88 charges. Thank you, No Live Hill. Appreciate that. Thank you, Stick. Appreciate you coming in.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
now,
sir. Have a good one.
You too. In the comments, Terrence Brown makes an excellent point. I asked the question, why, how does it look that Jack Smith turned this case down at a federal level? Because election interference which is what Alvin Bragg is charging him with. Election interference is also a federal crime. Alvin Bragg will be charging him, I guess, with election interference only in the state of New York, whereas Jack Smith could have charged him at a federal level. And I asked why, how does it look that Jack Smith turned it down? Terrence Brown stated maybe because he knows that he cannot pardon himself. That's a really good response to that question. That we'll let it go at the state level That way, if you get a conviction, as opposed to Jack Smith getting a conviction, he cannot pardon himself from a state conviction. He can pardon himself from a federal one. That's it could be. That actually could have happened, where Alvin Bragg received a phone call from Jack Smith, and or Merrick Garland, because it goes up pretty damn high. Some folks will say even Joe Biden is in on this stuff, but there's no evidence of that. But he could have received a call from the feds and said, this guy is going to pardon himself. Even if we get a conviction, he's going to find a way out of it. So that's a good answer. It could be. Looking in the comment section, political persecution, says Thompson 305. And that's what a lot of folks are alleging. That is why we're asking that question in regards to the show. Going back to the box shortly. Tap the screen, slightly over 600 in here. Numbers are fluctuating on the backup page. Get me on up to about 70,000. We can certainly make that happen if you tap the screen and let your thumbs not be lazy. To my YouTubers, feel free to smash that like button. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. The program is, always has been, always will be MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests. Liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So understand we go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. You might hear opinions you favor, other ones you really think are wacky. It's because everybody gets a chance to speak here. Looking in the comments, whether it's personal business or political, people pick on Trump for things that Democrats have been doing for decades or worse. Examples. Feel free to state some examples of things that Trump is being picked on for doing that Democrats also do. I do believe there's probably some examples, some legitimate examples out there, but I don't know if everything folks are criticizing Trump for has been done by Democrats as well. January 6th is a perfect example. Now, a lot of times folks will counter with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter was not orchestrated by any Democratic president. So Black Lives Matter, grassroots movement at the lower level. January 6th is Trump. So I don't think the Democrats done anything that can compete with January 6th. And that is something that Trump is often criticized for. So when you suggest that Trump is being criticized for things that the Democrats do all the time, there is no Democratic example of January 6th. There just isn't. Not at that level, it's not. Looking in the comments, to say that and yet Republicans didn't file charges or cry foul. No stop justified. I don't quite get your comment there, Donnie. Republicans didn't file charges or cry foul. No clue what you're talking about there. If Obama was doing the things Trump did, all hell would come to Obama. A lot of folks have said that. But BLM is Democratic and the percentage, but BLM is Democratic and the president didn't stop it or run and throw them in jail, says Cedric. I don't agree that BLM is Democratic. Democrats sympathize with the BLM movement. But the folks committing crimes in favor of Black Lives Matter, whether they're setting fire to a CVS or vandalizing a Best Buy, my opinion is that most of those folks probably don't vote at all. I don't think the average thug you see carrying a television out of Best Buy is a card-carrying Democrat. I think that they may have a Democratic mindset where they would favor Obama over Trump any damn day, but that don't mean they show up to vote for the guy. So I don't buy that most of the criminal protesters or rioters in regards to Black Lives Matter are card-carrying Democrats. I just don't believe that. I don't think those folks, some of them are kids. Some of them ain't even old enough to vote that are out there in the streets setting shit on fire and turning over cars. Some of them folks ain't even old enough. I don't believe that they're voting Democrat. I just don't believe that. You're not going to see them in line for 8 hours in the middle of Atlanta during the summertime dying to vote for a Democrat. They're not voting. Probably are felons and can't vote, says Teresa. Yeah, them are not Democrats. They may have an opinion that is favorable to Democrats in general. You know, you catch the average felon, particularly one that's African American, would side with Democratic views over Republicans any day, but that don't mean he's showing up to actually vote Democrat. So it's now the folks that on January 6th, them motherfuckers are voters. Them people that came out there to DC to defend Trump, stop the steal, those are voters. Them are people who actually show up to the polls and vote. I don't think anybody would have flown all the way to DC to protest, go in the Capitol building, peaceful protest or not. No more voters. All of those folks are voters. So I think it's a little bit different there. Alexander Tardy, 125. Good afternoon. And they aren't criminals, says Jesse or Leslie. Well, I don't know. The FBI has a bunch of them in jail. Alexander, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hey.
I totally agree with you, my friend. When you say that about like the voters of January 6th and all that stuff, I totally agree with you. They are voters, but the thug that broke a window in Wisconsin, let's say, I think that was just a kid, that doesn't give a crap about like who's in the White House or anything like that. So.
Yeah, like the guys that tried to shoot what is his name? Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't think those folks are voting. You know, the guy he caught up with and had to shoot the guy in the head. Them dudes ain't voting. Them dudes ain't voting.
They just gave him money and stuff and to speak and whatever else. So
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think the media is deliberately hurting the Trump campaign, smearing them? You know, because folks say that Trump would be loved if it wasn't for the media. What say you?
Well, I think if actually the media, I agree, it might be a little less, but it goes both ways. If the media stops saying like Joe, Sleepy Joe, and this and that, they might actually take a look at what he's accomplished. He might be a much more beloved president.
Now, when you say what Joe
goes both ways.
Yeah. Now, when you say if the media would say what Joe Biden has accomplished, a lot of folks on the right don't think Joe Biden has done much at all. What do you believe Joe Biden has accomplished while being president?
The maximum that he could get with all the interference that he's had.
You got to give me more. That's the same thing. Yeah, but that's the same thing MAGA says.
The infrastructure bill, for example, that has created over 40,000 projects around the country. So you can't deny that. And he's brought some like jobs back, manufacturing. The numbers show up. Our economy is not that bad. I don't think the economy has anything to do with inflation anymore. I think the inflation is created because, for example, I went to Europe October, I would say.
You got a radio? You got a radio in the background?
I just might.
Okay.
Let me turn it off a little bit. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. All right. So I went to Europe and stuff, and the food, everything like that, it was just as high as here, it's not because like their inflation was like fantastically higher than us, but they were suffering the same thing. So I think it's much less how the government is running things as to corporations overcharging us.
But let me ask you
about this. It's bad press, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're overcharging us at this point.
Price
the
gouging.
Inflation part. I'm sorry.
Now you're talking about price gouging. Let me ask you this also. Now I'll let you take this one wherever you want to go with it because I don't quite get it, but maybe you understand it more. I'll let you respond uncensored.
They were in trouble.
Kevin, you there?
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Kevin O'Leary on YouTube, listening to your comments, says Biden has accomplished murder, mayhem, and chaos. Where do you think that's coming from?
Where's the murders? Like, see, that's the thing. I would love to have like discussions with right-wing people. I'm a liberal. I'm kind of like you. I'm left-leaning. I'm not like all the way left, like the loonies, that like the loonies, socialist, whatever else. No, I believe in capitalism, and but with a hint of socialism.
A hint. What is a hint of
know,
socialism? What do you mean by a hint of what is that? What does that mean?
helping people, where, like when I see the state government cutting school lunches, but like for example here cutting school lunches in Florida, but the governor is running around the country trying to be Trump number 2. See, socialism to me would be feeding the kid, like voting to feed the kid before you give a billionaire tax break, things like that. So that hint of socialism, right. So, it doesn't hurt. We have the money. We just choose to give it to the wrong people.
Wow. I've heard that before. All right, I do got to move it on, Alexander. Appreciate you coming through. Good talk.
I always appreciate talking to you. It's not the first time. You're always a good discussion, man.
Thank you. Don't be a stranger. Come on back anytime. Moving the program on. Socialism isn't a bad thing, says Hypnosis. Well, I suppose it depends on to what degree. I think that in effort to demonize Obama, just like folks that say to demonize Trump, the word racism is mentioned in every damn thing, causing the word racism to lose its value. Well, the same has happened with socialism. In effort to demonize Obama, they were calling, literally any damn thing is socialism. Anything you do to help out folks at the bottom was called socialism. And it was overused to the point where it has lost its value. I don't believe providing impoverished children with free lunch is socialism. I just don't. But we've gotten to a point now where anything you do, any program, whether it's welfare, food stamps, housing assistance, Medicare, everything is socialism. Everything if you leave it to some folks, even the police coming when you call and not charging you would be considered as socialism. So I do believe some people have went above and beyond. I don't know. Nevertheless, going back to the box. I don't know what's been going on with this thing lately, but let me keep it moving with we'll go to Andrew Cooper. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. What just happened there? Okay, the box is acting good.